Hello and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 3 with the Black Ice submod and whatever other augment mods I've got running. And where we left off, I think we left off in June 1939. It is now September and World War II is about to begin. Now I'm about to initiate this event here, which is Danzig or War, and I'm about a week or so late, give or take a few days, and I just wanted to roll through what I've done with the reorganisation. So we've got a lot more planes than when you guys last saw, and I've arranged them like so. I'm just sort of showing you the dispositions of our forces. Then in the north we have Liebmann, who commands 5th Army. We have von Kuchler, that commands the 3rd Army. In the centre we have Busch, that controls the 2nd Army. The 8th Army under Blautzewicz is moving up, but I haven't got him into the OB. 6th Army is commanded by von Manstein, who's got quite a concentration of forces, to be fair, about 129,000. And then we've also got in the south von Bock, who has himself an army that's quite large. And again, it's mainly a force going to move forward. Now, we are going to attack. The main axis of attack is going to be with this core here, to cut off, and I'm just going to demonstrate this area here. Then this core, which is going to be dealing with open ground, is going to make its way to the Vorta and then the Vistula, and hopefully cut off from here with, you know, this combined force that's going to attack here. These two Panzer units are going to push into Suwałki and then into Grodno. And then in the south, we're going to use these units to push up north to take Krakow, and then hopefully as well, if I can remember where it is, Lov, whatever it's called. And then really everyone else is going to be in sort of just a general advanced stage. We've got a very large air force, as I said earlier, that we've got in position. And we're going to be holding a defensive position on this end, just to stop those pesky French from coming towards us, but I don't imagine that they will. In the north, we're just organising our mountain corps, ready for attacking Denmark and eventually Norway. And I think I'll be puppeting both of these. And yeah, I think we're at the point where World War II can begin. So, oh, actually, before I do that, we've got a defensive force here under Karls, who commands the Baltic Fleet. And then our navy over here, we have Fricke, who commands our single aircraft carrier at the moment with our light cruiser supports. We have Baum commanding our Panzerschiff, our small battleships, or whatever they're called, pocket battleships. We've got Schultz who commands our 1 convoy raider unit. We've got Donitz commanding the 1st U-boat flotilla. We've got the Admiral Hipper, which commands sort of our more ancient light cruisers, our older heavy cruisers, and some of our older destroyers. We've got some more U-boats in both of these units, and then the Scharnhorst with our main force of more modern destroyers under Raider himself. Then in the south, I've positioned some convoy raiders in the Mediterranean so that they can start raiding in this area here and this area here, to pick off any British ships that come this way, and then our raiders can pick off any ships that come this way. So got a sort of two-pronged attack there. And then, you know, I think we're in a pretty good spot other than that. But let's begin, shall we? Let's begin World War II. So, Ribbentrop asked the Poles for the return of Danzig and a strip of the German territory across the Polish corridor on which a German-run road and rail link could be built. This time Hitler met real resistance. On the 31st of March 1939, the British and French guaranteed the borders of Poland. Encouraged by this guarantee, the Poles were not about to compromise. Then, as 1939 progressed, the position of the Soviet Union became critical. If Stalin allied himself to Britain, Germany would run the risk of a two-front war if she pushed the world forward into conflict. British attempts at negotiation with the Soviet Union were, however, lackluster. The British sort of capitalist, you know, your government of Neville Chamberlain saw the Soviet Union as weak and not really able to support any major offences anyway. So they weren't a fan of Stalin, and whenever they did meet him, it was always lackluster. And Churchill was pretty awful in his meetings with Stalin as well. But we'll talk about that in, later on in the war. But for both ideological and practical reasons, Stalin had purged thousands of officers from the Red Army, and the Soviets were perceived to be a third-rate military force. Stalin was also unwilling to be pushed into a war which offered him little in terms of his own narrow self-interest, because, of course, Stalin would enter the war for the British if the British, offered him all of Eastern Europe, which, of course, they weren't going to do, because, that's British influence for you. And the Nazis pulled what Manfred von Schroeder, calls a stroke of courage and genius. That's in quotation marks. They signed their own treaty with the Soviet Union, their greatest ideological enemy, which was a massive shock to the peoples of the world because they were diametrically opposed. So that's just that blurb again, and Danzig War. So we do declare war on Poland. Now, we are running out of money, so let's just quickly have a look at where we're sending money to. So 37, and we're importing crude oil, but that's a large amount of our crude oil imports. We might have to just cancel that and take the hit. Right. So let's use the home front. Wartime measures, which means that we get a few buffs. And we will trigger Blitzkrieg. And that gives us a load of buffs to our military might. And I think we will go with... Could go with large fleet. Just to get some more convoys. Yeah, let's take what we can. So we'll get a -5 IC for that, but we will get a lot of boats by doing that. So let's chuck all of those auxiliary vessels, because that'll make our navy one a hell of a lot larger. And then let's chuck on the 2 laws. So service by requirement. It's saying we can't afford the costs. Oh, that's depressing. Okay, so how much do we need to do that? 38. Right, let's get attacking then. So we're going to move up with whatever corps that we can. Then we're going to take this whole corps and move it in like so. Now the Panzer divisions are going to move up. Then with these units we're going to flank and move forwards. Because really they haven't really garrisoned their border with us at all, to be honest. And in fairness to them, they don't really have the troops to garrison it particularly. Right, so let's move up. Like so. It's a good track to start playing. So we've got all of these guys moving into position. Now, with the Air Force, we want to start doing air superiority missions everywhere that we can. And ground attack missions everywhere that we can. Because we've got this Air Force in position for, you know, a basic reason, and that's to make sure that we have air superiority. Because in World War II, the Germans achieved air superiority, and really one of the major things that they did have was radio communications, which allowed them to call very accurate air strikes and artillery strikes on, you know, relevant positions. And it was quite a fluid form of warfare for the time. You know, it's really the first time that you see modern, you know, modern tactics sort of really playing a major part. And I just want to highlight individual areas. If you're going to be like that, right, let's start ground attacking, and let's use, you know, because we want to achieve complete air superiority everywhere. Right, so they've still got supply, so that's good. Go for air superiority where you can. And you guys are going to do the same. Now, we're going to have one unit here going on runway cratering, I think. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And then we're going to keep on going for the air superiority in this area. And we're going to go ground attack here. Right, then next up, we've got our heavier bombers. So, and you know what, we will do interdiction with them. We'll do interdiction or runaway catering with them. I think the same thing again. Interdiction with them. More runway cratering. And I think we'll go ground attack with these guys. Right. Next up, we have one unit of Flieger. The 7th Flieger Division. And I'm going to land them in Turan. Because I think that'll be an important and strategic area. And we will move out those units there. Right then. I think that's good. Okay. Now the next thing to set up is our air defense squadrons. So, Mitch, you shall air intercept. In the north. As will you. Because realistically we want to try and stop as many bombers as we can. Because the Allies, or the British I should say, love a good strategic bomber. And we want to stop as many of them as possible. So, God, that's an awful name. Now I know that you can just do it as a circle diameter, but I don't like doing that. I prefer like individually saying which regions I want them to protect. Although when you have it clicked on the wrong one, that's not particularly helpful. And you guys will concentrate on the more industrial areas. As long as I click the right thing. And I think, you know, this combined with our AA will mean that, you know, they probably won't be getting through anytime soon. Now, Drum, you're more central, so we're going to put you on central defensive duties. again, clicking the wrong thing. Got to pay attention for that. Otherwise I'll just be rebasing to place after place. And you guys, for your air intercept missions. It's beautifully done. Now, I will be playing this fairly historically. Like, I will try and stick to the timetable of World War II. Not exactly, but, you know, close-ish. Although, if I spend my whole life doing air intercept mission orders, then, you know, it will get dry very quickly. Right, I think that'll do. Oh, actually, I'll do the Praga one as well, even though that probably they won't have range to get out here, but in the event that they do, that's now sorted. Right, so let's put this down to speed 2. So there you go, first couple of wins. So we've won the Battle of Wylan and of Gdynia. Yet to lose a single person yet. Let's take all of that off and just have land combat going. So we've got a bombing going on at wherever that is. Grozno. And we need our troops to progress fairly quickly. So far so good. Got a bit of air combat going on. The majority of their planes, it appears that they've got the majority of their fighters here. But we've got a better commander than them. And I think they are going to start to fall. And the quicker that we can get the land bridge established, the better, realistically. So we've won the Battle of Suwałki. And so far the amount of casualties that they're taking are quite extreme compared to our own. And I think what I'll do is I will just complete the Battle of Poland in this episode. So the whole episode will just be, you know, I'll call it like the Battle of Poland or something on the title. Propaganda has failed, and we've lost the effects of the Austrian economic miracle. Right, let's set up these naval units here, because these will form part of our deployment troops when we go to attack Norway. Oh, more orcs vessels. This is the problem with picking large. And there's not a quicker way to do this, so it's a bit of a pain in the old arse. What it does do is it makes our navy look bigger. So that's a positive. And I think we will start passive convoy raiding. So we will take the U-boat Schulflute. And we haven't connected them up yet with their relevant area. Keep going, keep going, keep going. No. Where are you? There we go. And we're going to go passive. And we're going to go convoy raiding. With these guys, we're going to do the same. So we're going to go back to the U-boats. And we're going to go convoy raiding. And then the same with these guys, who we're going to attach. We're going to put onto convoy raiding. And we're going to have them convoy raid passively here. So let's have a look. So we're covering a lot of space with this. And I've built quite the naval air force to aid with our naval operations. I think I'm going to get them flying soon. So far so good. No particular battles looking like they're particularly irritating. Most of our bombings are going well. We're not looking like we're taking too much damage. And we are causing a decent amount of damage to their air bases. we're nearly at the point where we can enact some more laws. We need 50 money though, so just got to keep building that money. We are losing a lot of fuel from conversion, so we need to be slightly careful of that. We've won some more battles. And we are going to need to cancel some of our overseas trades. So, anything that's going sort of to the arse end of nowhere, they're not even providing us with what we're looking for, so no. Because we need to try and stop convoys. And most of our fuel's coming from Romania now, but not a lot. But we are getting 12 from the Netherlands, so that's impressive. Because we want to make sure that our national unity doesn't start getting displaced. And so far we've not looking like... Aha! Oh, go on, take them out. Really, you want to damage them to the point where they don't feel like they can come over, you know, our lands anymore. And we've made our first moves into Polish territory. And we are starting now to advance fairly quickly. They have a few more troops making their way back towards us, but nothing too crazy. And aha, some more twin-engine fighters have been built. And it looks like they had a division in there, which is interesting. Now Hoth, not to be confused with the Arctic planet from Star Wars, is making his way southwards. I'm hoping that we can cut them off, but they're fighting surprisingly well. You guys. Yeah, you guys. This is unacceptable. Ground attack. You've taken a bit of a battering, actually, to be perfectly fair. Let's peel off our Corps Command HQ and just make sure nothing funky happens there, because they should really be able to turn over this, you know. We had a bit of research complete. I don't care about political indoctrination. And let's build up our espionage points. Make sure that we've always got one spy creation. And look at the amount of fascism in these countries. Good job. Right, so we have nearly taken and closed the pocket around Poznan. And we will push out further. Move on to Danzig. They did manage to escape the encirclement, which is somewhat frustrating. And as I say, the performance of the 7th Flieger Division has been pretty weak sauce so far. Disappointing. You know, they're beating that, you know, garrison division, but I can't imagine there's more to that garrison division than like one unit. Yeah, there's nothing particularly powerful about that unit. And we've won the Battle of Gorlice, and I think we will move those troops around. You will move up, and your cavalry unit will move up, and we'll move up to Tarnow. Everyone move up, and there's a small amount of armour here that's opposing us. But we've made most of our sort of day 4 objectives, I would wager. And everything quiet on the Western Front. Yeah, we've got enough forces here, even though they're reserve forces, to at least hold them. We're not at the point where we can affect better laws. But you are there providing fire support, which is good. And you know what, we will just quickly chuck some more units in. And 10th Panzer is speedy. Look at you go. Although it says you're going at, you know, less than a mile per hour at the moment, but that's just because you're in combat. And let's bring up those infantry divisions. Because we desperately need to close the gap. And that was nicely done. It's the 14th of September and things are going fairly well. Another one of our flotillas has just finished being built. Let's put a decent Seawolf commander in command there for the extra submarine attack. And we've got an extra bit of this. Let's chuck it on, whatever that says. I'm pretty good with my German, but there's some German pronunciations that I just will not even attempt. Like, you know, Kustrin, for example. I think I'm pretty good at that, but Nusatz, I think I'm alright with that, but there are other ones that are just, yeah, it's hard. We're not doing too badly. Our advance is going fairly well. From our starting positions here, we've moved up to about 100 kilometers in about 2 days. Or 3 days, I should say. Got air-based strike tactics. What are we going to do? I think we'll let that tick. You know what? No, we won't, because these strat ones are quite good. So sniper warfare is a good one. As is assault concentration, that's positive. And let's take another 6 out of there just to make it completely optimized. Getting 82 officers a day, so we've got the 100% ratio, which is good. I'd like it to be up to 110%, but what we've got going on is positive. And that's the Condor Legion there. And you look like you're ready to go. We're not doing too badly with our attack. We've pushed them fairly well. And we've nearly made a land border now. And we've won the Battle of Ciudades, where there was obviously quite the battle going on there, where they lost 4,000 troops to 23 of ours. It's quite impressive. And that's where most of our motorized was, so it must have been a single defensive position unit or something. And it looks like our pocket closed there. And we're going to move them up. It looks like that garrison unit is being well and truly pulverized. And small ship main armament advanced. How are we looking now? Yeah, not too bad. We can get the next level of small ship classes, so we will. Okay, we were just attacked in Saarbrücken. But it looks like we did manage to push them back. As you can tell, I've put all of our old guard commanders and level 1s and 2s in command of our crappier garrison units. But von Witzelben and Dolman are good leaders, as is von Lieb, who... This was his historical position in World War II, or at least in this early stage, because he was seen as one of the foremost experts in defensive warfare, and actually called for attrition-based warfare against the Soviet Union, which would have been quite interesting, because he got fired, I think, late 41, early 42, because he did lead Army Group North during Operation Barbarossa, and it was said that if he'd, because that was when they were on the offensive, which he wasn't as good at, as he was at defensive warfare, but he was still alive. So if Hitler had recalled him, and the main reason he didn't was because he was quite a religious man, he was from a Catholic background, I believe, then it would have been interesting to see how he would have done in defensive warfare, considering he was apparently one of the military minds for defensive warfare in World War II, or at least a theorist in the interwar years. And he had some quite interesting ideas on defensive structure. But there's quite a lot of commanders like that where they were retired by Hitler due to his sort of paranoia of the Army Corps being somewhat against him. And we don't want to commit them to that battle. Let's make it a slightly broader advance now. Yeah. Like so, yes. And we are moving, we're going to take Lodz without a fight. Let's see if we can take Warsaw without a fight. Let's see if we can break north. Yeah, they are testing the defences. But all they have to do is hold while we handle this, because we are going to handle it quite quickly. Although in the south here, where I think there's mountainous terrain, oh no, woods, we're not doing so well. We're not doing so hot down here. We will move the Kampfgruppe north and hopefully complete the encirclement of Krakow. But the advance has been fairly quick, so I think it's been about 7 days. 7 days since we started, and so far so good, I think is the terminology I would use. We will organise the Greater Deutschland Division. This is a cool historical unit. And I think it's an upgrade to the Wachtruppen. Yes. This is a cool unit. I'm going to give them, I think, Sturmgestütz. And let's take a bit more leadership factor out of there. Put it into there to officer production. And so that parachute drop could have gone a lot better. It's disappointing how that went. But we've won the Battle of Danzig. And realistically, if we were to push now, how are we looking? Yeah, not bad. So, 1st Panzer is moving in to attack Milan Kamiski. And at some point can I upgrade? I'm sure I can. Can you upgrade lights to... Yes, you can. So that's probably something that is going to have to happen eventually. We're going to have to upgrade our light tank divisions to medium tank divisions. And these guys have taken a real hammering. Right. And I think... Ah, yes, I do have some more. Now, we're going to move them from attacking Lomza, and we're going to move them on to attack those conscripts. Yeah, that's good. And we can now get some more submarine class built. So we are going to upgrade both of those. Yes, that's good. This is a case of so far so good, really. And we have now taken... Yes. Right, so we have trapped them in now. So that's another encirclement. Sorry for the slight cut in there, and we will begin now, I think, the closing stages of the campaign in Poland. So, really, when we look at their surrender progress, they're saying that they're 22% happy, but we have Krakow surrounded, and Lodz is about to be taken. We have captured Danzig and committed a land border now with some of our troops. And we are going to move with Gehr von Schweckenberg into attacking Grodno. And I think we will move on Wydawski. God, I'm butchering these pronunciations. Wow! 903 troops. It's not bad. And we have taken the Polish corridor and reunited Germany. With that, we can move our troops back, or our fleet back. In fact, let's just leave it there and see if it intercepts the Polish one. Nope, we're not going to intercept. Well, if they're not going to intercept, I can use these guys on naval strike and do air superior. Oh, it doesn't reach that far. What's their range? Doesn't say their range. It says their max speed. We can get about... That's a pretty fair distance, you know, into the North Sea. Yeah, let's see if they can't... No, they can't either. Right. Let's see if we can't blow them out of the water. We've got another pocket up there. Right, let's bump up the speed a bit now. This is progressing nicely. And we have won the Battle of Warsaw, so I think we're in the closing stages. We're about to win the Battle of Krakow, I believe. And we do have a little bit more research available as we keep conquering. Building more officers a day. We need to complete another encirclement in the northeast. And we've taken Krakow. How's their will to fight looking now? Not so good. So I think with the fall of Warsaw, which is worth 4 victory points, that will pretty much end it. And the Soviets have started their attack. So that's positive. Come on, everyone pile in. We get on the 26th apparently. And it looks quicker to me. Who's the speed unit? The 25th. Nice. Really, they haven't got any sort of major troops, do they? And they are absolutely ruined. What troops they do have are in an absolute state of disrepair. We've won that battle. And let's just make sure that we don't forget to move up the units. Unfortunately, the Polish campaign is quite quick. Now, bearing in mind I started this about 2 weeks later than... about, 10 days later than it would have normally happened. We're going to have this tidied up within about 2 weeks. Which is pretty good. It's not the quickest I've done it, but it's pretty close. There is a unit here, though. So that's positive. And that encirclement's nearly done. And realistically, Warsaw is their sort of last area of defense now. We will accept transit rights from Yugoslavia. Not worried about trades at the moment, and we've been given another unit here, which I think is going to form a part. I think it's to do with this one here. So we are going to get the 1940 versions of those ticking over. Get mass assault. And then let's like so. And we've got small ship radar. Let's get these 1940 techs rolling because they're important. I think we are going to quite easily cross the Vistula. They are mounting a proper defense now, so we're going to bring up all of these units, And put them on ground attack. And I think we're going to bring up these here and also put them on ground attack. And how are we looking in the naval side of things? So we've sunk one hell of a lot of convoys so far. So that's good going. That's what we want to see. We are going to slowly but surely keep the pressure up. And they are losing organisation rapidly. Along with troops rapidly. Losing about 3 to 5% every roll. And they lost 5,000 in that attack. And we've taken Warsaw. So with that... Yes, with that, I think we have dealt a crippling blow to Poland. And there you go. We have now defeated Poland. So, as you can tell, the Soviets actually advanced, further than they normally do. We can upgrade a couple of divisions. So we will. And I think we will call it an episode there. Yes, indeed we shall. So, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. And that was the destruction of Poland. So, from here on out, I think we've got a sort of basic mopping up duty to do. We'll be dividing up Poland with the Soviets in next episode. And then we will be preparing our invasion northwards, because we will take all 3 of these Scandinavian countries. I think what we will do is we will retake the cores that we need for this area here, I think. Yeah, so take what cores we need from here. Or actually, should we... We could just take these 2 and just leave them with the islands. That might be an idea. So we might just leave them with these 2 islands here. So we'll puppet them. Oh, in fact, you know what? We'll just puppet them, and puppet them. We'll puppet all 3 countries in Scandinavia. And then we'll look to our southern border, I think, after that, as well as France. So we'll have to see how that goes. But thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks again. Bye-bye.